Hello, everybody. Welcome. I see we have some viewers tuning in. Welcome, everyone. On this edition of 39 Down, we have a special guest today that I think you'll really enjoy the presentation that we have today. Let me bring her on here. Rebecca, hi. So we
Hello.
have Rebekah Spann with us today, and I will tell you a little bit about her. Rebecca is a certified music therapist. She received her bachelor's degree from Oakwood University in piano performance and chemistry as a minor. She currently attends the University of Kentucky, is working on completing her master's degree in music therapy. And Rebecca is from Atlanta, Georgia. So, welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and
So it's a pleasure to have you, and I'm really interested in this topic. For those who are joining us, let me sure we show I can see your comments here. Make sure that you feel free to ask questions, post comment, let us know where you're listening from. Rebecca is last week I told you that I was kind of going into presenting different topics on the topics of sounds and different things like that. And last week, for those who tuned in, we had a presentation and discussion learning about tuning forks and how those can also help. But uh, and it's funny, as I was thinking, tuning fork, it was the sound that we heard that was helping us. And the Rebecca also was her name. Rebecca Carner was telling us that it's the pulsing or the frequency itself, the pulsing itself, that is helping promote healing. And today, I think we're going to mix the frequencies and the harmonies, right? So
yes.
excited about that. We're building up on the topic, and just finding ways, different exploring different ways that can help us in our wellness journey. So here we are. We are talking today about music therapy and how music can help us. So the first question, Rebecca, that I have for you is, I know you play instruments, but how did you even get into the field of music therapy?
So I was first introduced to it or two ways. The first was in undergrad. I had a classmate who's a few years ahead of me, and I guess one of her high school teachers had told her about music therapy and got her interested in it. And she went on to, I think, Florida State and came back and kind of told some people about what she had done. And from what I heard her say, she's like, all you do is you go around and you play guitar music and sing to people, and that's all you do. And when I heard that, I was like, that's not for me. I don't want to do that. If all you do is just sing and play guitar for people, that's all you're doing, then that's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
So a few years later, after I finished undergrad, and I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, my dad actually introduced me to, or brought the idea of music therapy again to me. He said he had heard about, I think it was a local news channel,
Mm-hmm.
did a story on music therapy and how it was so beneficial for their child. And my dad came and told me about it and was like, I think this is something that you would be interested in and you should look more into it. And so I was kind of like, no, I don't know. And then while I was teaching piano, I did some adapted lessons, which basically means instead of um, the students that I was teaching required special adaptations to learn how to play the piano.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and was doing that. And after, I think there was one student had her for about maybe 3 or 4 months. And we got to a breakthrough moment where she was playing stuff. Like we went from playing one finger on each note to her playing all the fingers on her right hand. And when we got to that moment, and you're looking at her playing, and she was looking at the music, which was also adapted. Um, After that, I was like, this is the best thing ever. And then my dad came back and was like, yeah, music therapy. That kind of, I think that's somewhere related in there. And
Mhm.
like, okay, I guess maybe I need to look more into it. And I did more of my own research. And like, yes, you play guitar for people, but the whole reason behind it, there's like what people might see is you're just singing and playing and that's it. But there's a lot more going on in terms of how the person is responding to the music, what their needs are. If it's a memory care thing, how are they responding as you're asking questions or as you're playing the music? If it's maybe in a hospital setting, what are their how are they responding um, physically, like their breathing level, their oxygen level, all of that. Um, their heart rate, how is all of that being affected by the music?
Mhm.
And then for maybe in groups, if you're presenting a music therapy program to a group, maybe you're looking at how is the group interacting with you? How is the group interacting with each other? How responsive are they to the music? How much interaction are you wanting, and how much are they actually giving you? And what can you do to improve or I guess give make it more of a I don't know what's the word, give more, I guess give more to you, or if you need less, whatever, you can adapt and fit those needs in the moment. So when I looked and saw all that, I was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
there's a lot more going on to that.
Or-
It's not just play and perform music. There's actual, you're looking at actual physical, emotional, social needs of the people that you're working with, and looking at that from a music perspective, and manipulating the music in such a way to fit those needs in the moment.
Nice.
When I saw that, I was like, I think that's what I need to do.
That no, but that's really good because there are, and I'm glad that you told us about that journey because I would say there are some professions, there are things out there that we just don't know about, never heard about, right?
Hmm.
And when we first hear this, like, oh, I don't know, this kind of sounds, so, but it does help us to also see that looking kind of at an outside or broader range of things, and how again healing can happen in different ways. And I was thinking
Hmm.
maybe you need to teach me something. Maybe I don't know if my parents are going to join in, but they would attest they paid for a lot of piano lessons, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, it didn't work. I probably needed some of that alteration,
Hmm.
we call it adaptive.
And I think that's
Probably
the
what
thing.
I
I
did.
wish that more music teachers were equipped or went and learned how to do, because
Mhm.
I feel like there's so many students out there that want to play whatever instrument, and because a lot of teachers, or not even maybe teachers, but a lot of music lesson or teaching curricula
Mhm.
are set in, you have to learn it this way.
Yeah.
And when students want to branch out and do something else, or if they have that need of, well, I can't get this right now, but if we kind of break it down into smaller, or maybe jump around a bit, then I can get it better. But if teachers aren't able to do that, or want to do that, or
Mhm.
have the tools needed to help their students learn that way, then I think that's one of the reasons why so many people end up saying, well, I didn't stick with it. I didn't stick with it. And it didn't work, and I didn't like it. It wasn't
Right.
fun. So I think,
That was my problem. It's like I tried. I'm like I wanted to play. And I was like it just was not happening.
mhm,
But it's
yeah,
interesting that there are some. So well, I'll have to think about that. Do I still do it? But let's talk into and so I would say for the sound, just if you can come a little closer or speak just a little bit, and then we can hear you a little bit better. Um,
okay,
yeah, that's good. That's good.
okay,
Just that's perfect. So let's talk about music therapy as and I would say a lot of people see it as walking around. We got that hippie looking
Mhm.
person, and I had my hippie cardigan today. For the, but hippie looking person coming in and let's make a circle and everybody get your drum and boom boom boom, and
Mhm.
that is, in a way, it does happen, but it's not all there is to it. And
Mhm.
there's a reason why, you're right, you do those things. And so can you start, explaining to us a little bit what is music therapy, and then, kind of how you do it, how do you integrate it?
Okay, yeah. So basically, music therapy from the American Music Therapy Association, or AMTA. Their definition is music therapy is the clinical and evidence based use of music interventions to accomplish individual goals within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional who has completed an approved music therapy program. So, all that to say, all the fancy words to say basically, music therapy is the use of musical interventions, experiences, whatever you want to call it, by to accomplish individualized personal goals, whatever the needs of that person are, whether that's um, physical needs, whether that's emotional needs, it could be maybe some communication needs, social emotional, whatever the need is, you're using music to accomplish that goal. And it's all done within a therapeutic relationship by a credentialed professional. So I know there's a lot of people who see music therapy and say, "Oh yeah, that's music therapy," but then they might see someone else as who's technically a performer or just a musician, and might think, "Oh well, they're doing music therapy too."
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that a lot of music therapists will tell you is no, music therapy, you can only call it music therapy if it's done by a licensed or credentialed or board certified music therapist. I know a lot of states are working towards licensure for that reason. So that way it's more protected and only people with that license if there's a music therapist. I know Georgia is one of those states that in order to practice as a music therapist, you have to be licensed. Kentucky is working on it. But there's probably, I'd say, probably about maybe 15 or so states
Mm-hmm.
that have licensure. So if you live and practice within those states, in order to call yourself a music therapist, you have to go and get that licensure. But yeah, so that's the general overview of music therapy. And then, so kind of some of the things that we work on, as I said, kind of social, emotional, physical, communication, whatever the need is. But you can use those to manage stress, educational goals. I know a lot of the students that I've been working with have needs with communication, whether that's they use a device, like an iPad device to speak or to communicate with people, whether they're able to verbally communicate and now they're just working on maybe instead of saying yes, no, or ball, dog, cat, whatever, they're working on increasing that to longer phrases. There's students that are working on joint attention. There's students that are working on spatial awareness. So like I have something up here, I have something else down here. This is under this. Um, you can work on grief, bereavement. So I feel like or trauma, which I feel like over the last few years is going or considering all that's happened within the last few years, that's going
Yeah.
to be on the up and up over the next few years if it hasn't already. Um, it can improve memory,
Mm-hmm.
not just older adult, whoever the need is. I think I know. I'm sure we can all think of if we hear a specific song,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of takes us back to a time in our life. So for people who have memory, um, not issues, but memory loss, or are trying to regain those memories just to be able to interact better with their family members. You can use that music that they remember, and as a way of, hey, we can use that as a way to facilitate a conversation. So maybe if someone really likes, say, I don't know, the Beatles or Michael Jackson, whatever, maybe we can find their favorite song and play it for them, and then they remember that, and maybe that can be used to facilitate a conversation of, hey, tell me about that song. What makes you love that song so much, or where does that song take you? And we can facilitate that into a whole conversation with family members, caregivers, whatever. And who knows, maybe it can even lead to for people with dementia or Alzheimer's, lead to a moment of clarity where it's, oh, we have that connection that we haven't had in who knows how long, and it can lead to some really special moments. And then, of course, always music. Everyone loves a good self-expression with music. I mean, I think we can all think of whatever song you're listening to, whether you're singing along with it, if you play an instrument, just playing along, even if you're just singing and jumping on the bed, or just as you, whatever. It's just a way of expressing yourself, how you're feeling in the moment. Maybe instead of, you don't want to talk to somebody, but you're listening to all these things, and you listening to this, you kind of work through those feelings that you might have in that moment. Or, I mean, music can just maybe experienced in a completely new way. There's no right or wrong way to experience music. It's so diverse. You can use it for everyone. So let's see. So what a lot of music therapists will use, you have a greeting song, maybe kind of the whole point of that is to kind of get a session started. So depending on the group that you're working with, it can be something as simple as, let's see, if I'm working with maybe the Little Littles, we can do the first thing that I do when I see all my friends. The first thing that I do is say hello to them. And then we can do so we say hello, Rebekah, hello, Rebekah, hello, Rebekah, hello, Rebekah, hello, Rebekah, and waving to all of our friends. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Something like that for maybe preschool, early elementary, versus something maybe a little older could be, let's see. That's what it is. So I said, hey, 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 welcome to music today. I said, hey, 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 welcome to music today. I said, hello to Rebekah. Hey, hey, Rebekah, how are you feeling today? So that's another something that you might prompt in a session or go around the group, depending on if it's an individual or group. Maybe saying, hey, how are you feeling today? Are you great? You feeling terrible? You feeling super over the moon excited, whatever? And then maybe something for older people. Let's see. This might be really old. Hey, hey, the gang's all here. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see you. Hey, hey, the gang's all here. It's so nice to see you now. And then, hey, hey, Rebekah's here. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to see you. Hey, hey, Rebekah's here. It's so nice to see you now. So that's three different ways of saying hello. You can literally do whatever. A lot of times you can do stuff with drumming. Um, I know a few therapists who have used drumming, like not even saying anything, just have a whole conversation using nothing but drums. And for someone who maybe isn't feeling very comfortable yet, that can be a way of them expressing how they're feeling without having to say anything. Or if you're in a group, maybe you can use group or individual, you can use it as a call and response. You can use it as a way of taking turns. Whatever the case may be, you can, that's one way. You can get more creative with song rewrites or song rewrites or create entirely new songs, maybe based off of things that you know people in the group enjoy. You can write a song, maybe you have a theme of the day, maybe we just had St. Patrick's Day, so we can write a song about St. Patrick's Day, all the things that we feel lucky about, or things about St. Patrick's Day that we enjoy. Maybe something green, talking about leprechauns, rainbows, and shamrocks. It can be whatever you want for the day. Of course, lots of singing, but again, you don't have to use singing. You can use different instruments. I have one of my clients, every time I see him, he always asks for this thing. It's called an automaton. So it sounds, and then the sound opens up. It can go really low, or it can go super high. So, I mean, there's an instrument out there for whatever your needs are. It's depending on what people want, what you think they might enjoy, and just using that musical tool to facilitate those goals or those needs.
Very nice. Now, and I'm sorry, I had a little, I don't know what's going on with my other camera there, but I came back on here. But that's very, I think that showing the I say the flexibility, and then the audience that you're trying to reach, that's really cool. Because a lot of things, with us, it tends to be very cookie cutter. And again, like you talked about the music teacher, not music
Mm-hmm.
therapist, but music teacher,
Like I
where
said, I have nothing against music teachers.
no, 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 no.
I'm just like,
Like
we can,
sometimes we don't have the
we all have
tools.
to learn music from our music teachers. So I have nothing but the love and respect for my music teachers out
Yes,
there.
I mean that you learn somehow, right?
Yes.
So, but sometimes we don't have the tools, or we don't know how, or we are, reaching the audience, or the student, the audience, or the patient, that you have, and so I like to see the flexibility that you're, from age groups and different instruments, different. I don't know, call it a toy, but it looks like a toy. It is
I
fun,
think it's a toy, but it's, I mean, an instrument that's a toy and just fun, and
Mm.
everybody who sees it is like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, it's cute." But tell me, so how does it? I would say, how does it work? But how can you go? Because I could see how the mood, like if you hear you sad, and you put on a sad song, and you're even more sad, and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of you want to stay in that mood. If you're excited, the Sunday cleaning, and people put the music, things like that. You can see how that, you know. How can it can affect the mood, but you were talking about like special recognition and different things. How is music, like in itself, can help us with developing, the brain, the mind, and help with health and wellness in general? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. So basically, I think when we think of or at least for me, when I think of wellness, I think of your physical health, mental health, overall life fulfillment, and then even the connections that you make with other people. So with music, something that I heard in one of my classes, that music is science. And I think a lot of people don't really think of music as being scientific all the time. They just think of it as being more of like an art, fun, creative thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so what music can do is, well, one of the first things I think about, there's a term in the music therapy world called ISO principle. And so basically what you do is, depending on the excitement level, or like, you know how you say, like, you're at a 10, you need to bring it down to a 1.
Mm-hmm.
What music can do is kind of facilitate that by using maybe a song that's very, very high and upbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and then slowly work at bringing it down and down and down and down. So maybe if we're doing something like, let's see, I'm on a Beatles kick right now. So, so shake it up, baby, now. Twist and shout. Come on, come on, come on, come on, baby, now. Work it on out. And then we can do all this moving, twisting, and you can just kind of slow it down. And then you can kind of do, let's see. Hey Jude, don't leave. I don't know the words all. Make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Something, I can't remember all the words. But you see how it's like you can transition and go from that high and
to calming down. Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. I know that I've read studies where using music, you can see how it affects your people's eye level, or people's eye dilation. I've seen where, like I said already, you decrease your anxiety. Kind of like with that, you can decrease your blood pressure if you're just really, really high and going. Or I mean, if you need to raise somebody up because they're just super, super mellow,
Right.
Flip it around the other way. But the good thing with, I mean, being able to use it, and with music being so versatile, and with the training that you get as a music therapist, you know different ways that you can manipulate the music in such a way to kind of make those slight changes to facilitate whatever that need is. So yeah, that's mood, mental alertness. There's something else that you can do with like deep breathing. So I mean, let me not do that, Katie. Oh, that's not. So you can facilitate something where
I can see you get the rhythm of
and you can just facilitate it as a deep breathe in and out.
That is relaxing. I'm breathing at the same time. So
yeah. So you can do stuff like that.
Right.
In terms of more academic and speech, and there's a lot of stuff with, you kind of have to know your scope of practice, because you don't want to jump into other fields that you haven't been trained in.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff where you can do make the music sound almost like a sentence sometimes, where you can say stuff like, basically, I mean, I don't know people who are musical, but the parts of a scale, you can do 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 do, and you have the low going to high, making it kind of like a question. So you say, "How are you today?" And kind of prompt that, putting that into a song. So you can do like, let's see, "I want to know how you are today. You are today. You are today. How are you today?"
Then I repeat, how are you too? So so then now you're learning how to make a sentence.
And if you can kind of put those directions into the music, so it's you're playing that, or you're playing that, putting you're putting the directions into that musical world, and kind of, instead of it being on the speech part of the brain, it's on the more
Right.
creative part, and
Right.
in facilitating that creative part, it transfers over and you make
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
connection.
Integration. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So there's that you can do with speech. You can do, a lot of people will do rhythmic stuff, where if you're trying to get someone to say something maybe longer, have them clap it out on maybe on a desk, your hand, an instrument, and in making that rhythmic beat, because I mean, we all know that speech in and of itself has a rhythm and flow. You don't just
Right. Right.
or you don't speak in a monotone. When you add that musical element to it, then it kind of provides a more, or an easier environment in which to add, or that I guess people might think, oh, I can sing it, and then eventually that translates into just regular speech.
Nice.
So
Nice. So I need to ask you. So we had the comment here that came in, talking about how it's, we've been talking about how it's been used for people with disability, speech issues, syntax, and other things. How can I would say, how can music, and if you guys have questions, the viewers, if you have any questions, please put in the comments. But how can how can it help someone with, I would say, no disability or not in hospital bed? Because music has been helped also. There are people, music therapists, who go through hospital and hospice and different places like that, for kids and adults. And how can it help someone who is just kind of living day to day, maybe has some trauma, or not, is not aware of the trauma, is not aware that it's affecting us. We're just kind of going through the motions of life. Is there a benefit in maybe seeing a music therapist, or having moments, music breaks, or or anything
I
like that?
mean,
How can it
I will
enhance?
always say yes, music breaks always and forever. But just I think um not everybody music therapy is not for everyone. But also you don't need to be musical in order to receive music therapy.
That's a good point there. Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people think, well, I'm not musical, so how is music therapy going to help me?
Right.
It's not about you being musical. It's just, how can it be used to facilitate what you need? So I think for people who maybe aren't aware, or just for general day-to-day activities, I mean, of course, everybody has their favorite playlists. Everybody has their favorite songs. So I think doing that by itself, or at least a first step or something, is good. Like, make it I know I have playlists for encouragement and motivation, just feeling very great and I just want to yell and sing and just have fun. Or just sit back and you just need to rest and relax, just whatever the case is. Start by a playlist and just listen to whatever that you need at that moment. And of course, that might change, but it can, help you sleep. It can help motivating. It can maybe bring up, whether it's good or bad, maybe bring up some memories that have been pushed back, and then in bringing those to the front, maybe it can help you realize, hey, maybe I should go and talk to somebody about this, or this is
Mhm.
becoming more of a problem. And in listening to this or thinking more about it, maybe I need I need help with this. Um,
So I do have to ask, I'll say, how come, how come, how is it, that music has such an effect on us? Is that is because we see how it can help in so many different situations. It seems like it's so broad, and it seems like it just can be just a part of our life, all the time. It's kind of like, how is it that music, is it the notes, is it the like you said, the composition? I know that they, when you talk about, I read the book, or I listened to, I didn't read the book, the Mozart effect, and the mathematical composition in it, and so what is there, like a one characteristic of music that we are responding to, or I'm not sure if I'm putting the question to.
I don't. I feel like I can't. I know what you're at. I think I know what you're asking, and I don't know.
Mm.
I
Because
have to go back. I have to go back and look and see because I don't want to point people in the wrong direction or anything.
no, but I think I still had that. I think that is it's just something innate in a way,
Mhm.
because
I think
when
because we're musical and everything is just so rhythmic, and
yeah,
we don't talk like this at all. Everything is not mono.
right.
We're just everything that our the world is musical. It's just kind
Mm-hmm.
of inside us,
Right.
and kind of facilitating that. And since it's so ingrained in every part of the world, and
Mm-hmm.
everything you do has some sort of musicality to it,
Mm-hmm.
kind of just, and it's so versatile, you can use it for whatever.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I need to go and look more into that.
No,
I,
I don't
one of
even
my
know that
professors,
there's an answer, because I feel like he was the guy that wrote the book on the, and he didn't have an answer. But I'll tell you one thing else that it touched about, and I'm gonna ask you. But I felt like it was just kind of like you said, it's just kind of it's in us and all around us, and somehow we just respond to it. We respond to the rhythm, we respond to the notes, the frequencies, the different things that just kind of you know just different chords and different things that trigger certain things in us. And
Mhm.
so I felt like it was kind of the same message too that I got, listening to that. But when I was listening to, and I don't even know if that was the same book, but they were talking about, so there is this concept of, when you think about music therapy, we think classical music, and you have not played any classical
Nope.
music.
I wish I if more people knew that. I think
Yeah.
that would bring more people to it, because
Hmm.
you just think, oh, music therapy, it's going to be I'm listening to Beethoven or I'm
Yeah, I'm
listening
gonna
to
do that. Sit there on
Mozart.
my info,
Yeah.
headphone, and then
No, I have I think
yeah.
that is a running joke with music therapists, like,
Mm-hmm.
um and like I spent all this time learning all of this classical music and
Yeah.
haven't used it at all.
Wow. So what? Because and you said, like, they were saying, like, babies have listening to. There is, of course, values in listening to the classical music, but it doesn't. It sounds like it doesn't have to be classical music
Oh, no, no,
in
no.
order to have a benefit on us and our well being
It
and
can
the
be
brain
as
and
simple.
so on.
I mean, I know I'm not trained in neonate. There's a whole special or set of training that a
Mm-hmm.
music therapist can get. That's part of the neonatal, part of the NICU and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it can something just as simple as nice, soft, quiet
Mm-hmm.
can be. I mean, can
Right.
facilitate the um, I guess for I know for premature infants, they can help them in their development and as they grow, being
Mm-hmm.
born premature.
Right.
Um, I've seen or I've read studies on how music can facilitate um, what is it nursing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it was kind of it was a they trained the infants, I think, on the bottle, like if they when they suckled on the bottle,
Mm-hmm.
um, the music would play
Oh.
and or something. I think that's what it
Mm-hmm.
was.
And so there was a reward to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
reinforcement. Ah.
And so in order to hear that, they had to continue. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure that's what it
Right,
was.
and they had to continue to suck on the bottle if they wanted to hear the music. That
Hmm.
makes sense of how it would. Yeah, that's interesting because yeah, I would say my first, first hearing about music therapy was, listen to classical music and it will, enhance your brain. And you talked about the integration of the lobes and
Hmm.
so on. And so a lot of people when they hear that, they think that's all they have to listen to, or it goes to the other extreme, which is, when you think about holistic, and oh, you have to listen to the Zen stuff. Also, it's like, well, I don't want to listen to that kind of Zen voodoo stuff. And I don't like classical music. So it
Hmm.
gets to where, we don't necessarily understand that as a, in our day to day, it can be useful for us and it can be reasoned from any culture
It's like
also,
listen to
right?
what you enjoy. It's like
Right.
it's not doing you any good if you're not listening. If it's something you don't like, there's how is it helping you?
That's a good point. I made that point when we talk about food. It's the same thing. Like if you, you go on a diet and then you eat the blended, tasteless things and you really dislike it, it's not doing you any good,
Hmm.
So I think that, yeah, it's the same thing with
Yeah, because I
anything.
mean, for
I guess,
this, like if all you can think about is how much you don't like it,
right.
then
It's not
it's not
helping.
helping you do feel better about yourself or
Mm-hmm.
whatever situation you're in.
Right, right. That makes sense. So let's talk about and our goal here is to again help promote health and healing and wellness. And so for somebody maybe who doesn't listen to music, regularly, uh, let's start with that. Somebody who doesn't listen to music regularly, what is the value? And I think you gave already a lot of good points on that. But what would be the value to starting listening to music? And is there a way or a time or, again, is there a method
It's
to
never.
it?
I mean, it's never too late. You can always listen to music, and I think if nothing else, start with what you think you might like. If you don't like
Mhm.
it, don't listen to it. There's so
Mhm.
much out there. You sh- you can find something that you like. You might have to do
Mhm.
some digging,
Right.
but you should be able to find something. And I mean, I think music, even if it's just something in the background that's just background noise,
Mhm.
like, start with that. But even still, like just the physical effects are just with stress, with anxiety, with blood pressure, mental awareness,
Mhm.
sleep.
Mhm.
It's all like research has been done on all of those things and how music can help improve those. And then in terms of like going on starting stuff or getting involved in stuff, um, join groups. Like you can
Mhm.
join. There's groups I'm sure everywhere where it's maybe something community choir this or beginning instrument something this, and it's just a group of people who
And it doesn't have to
everybody's
be
new.
that you play an instrument
No.
either. That's all, like drumming groups
Hmm.
and different drumming
Yeah.
circles or whatever.
Hmm.
It's you
It's
don't have to be
literally just
skilled.
whatever it is that day. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
because I think that would be again. I go back to me not knowing how to play. I
uh-huh.
was, how would I join a group or a circle or community that uses music? Because if I don't know how to play or if I don't know how to sing or I don't know how to dance, but
Hmm.
you're saying this is it's a non-issue. That's not a factor.
For some, not all. For
For
some.
some, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, you might get to a group and say, oh, okay, we're not
Yes,
holding
like
hands.
maybe not this group, but
Right, right.
but I thought there are things out there for everyone.
Nice,
Um
nice.
and I mean, in terms of like for group stuff, I feel like there's an added benefit with being with a group.
Mm,
And if you have like if you're wanting to improve in your wellness, being part of that group, I mean, that's human nature. We all want to be a
mhm.
part of something.
Right, yeah.
So if we can find like a connection through that, even if it is something just a drumming circle,
Mhm,
like twice a month, or um, maybe you you've picked up guitar or you've picked up piano or whatever instrument that you've always wanted to play,
mhm,
and maybe it's like, okay, well, I want to go and play with people. Maybe you
mhm,
find a group that's, hey, we're all just learning and we just come to play together and have fun. No
mhm.
no
No
requirement or anything.
judgment. Said no judgment.
No.
Yeah.
No. Um but yeah, stuff like that. Um
Now, is there a type of music that is not beneficial that can, because we
oh,
know
I
it
mean,
affects the mood. So is there a type of music maybe not to listen to, or not to listen to at certain time, or for too long, or
not that I'm
anything?
aware of, but I do know um music can be harmful if used the wrong way. Like except
Mhm,
like if you're listening to stuff you don't like it, or it brings up bad memories or you have bad associations with it, then
mhm,
that can do more harm than good.
mhm,
Um, so I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say there's something that you shouldn't listen to,
mhm.
um, but yeah, I not that I'm aware of.
Yeah,
I just kind of go back to
maybe
what.
doing in terms of maybe being, I don't know if that's even a term. I'll make it up. Conscious, a conscious listening, in the sense that you're paying attention, to what the music is doing to you or
Mhm.
for you.
Yeah.
If you listen to
Mhm.
something and you think like it's stirring certain things that you can't handle, or stirring, you feel like you're more anxious, more agitated, or snapping at the kids or something, then maybe that probably
Maybe
is
it's
not
time to,
what
yeah,
to
maybe
listen
it's
to.
time to
Right.
turn that off or change to
Right.
something else.
Change it. Like you did the example of like something like excited, fun music to kind of
Mhm.
toning it
Yeah,
down. And so trying to see, when you listen to music, how is
be
it
more aware of, maybe
affecting?
just
Yeah.
take a minute and be like, how am I internalizing this? Is it helping me? Is it doing what I need it to do?
Mm-hmm.
Should I change it to something else? Is
Mm-hmm.
it bringing up something that's maybe isn't helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, just
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that's very interesting, because there's, and again, if anybody has questions, you can type your questions in for Rebecca here. But yeah, it's interesting because um, a lot of time we've heard, like, this is bad music and this is good, this is better. Again, go back to classical. That was a thing too. Like, okay, we listen to that because it's refined and it promotes certain thing. But I think it's just because that is what was researched first. It seems like
mhm.
that's
And
what it
I want to
was.
say that in recent years, there's been more studies on whether, like, not just like Mozart or anything is bad or anything. I'm sure it is helpful. I mean, I don't think it's harmful.
Mhm.
I don't think, but um, I believe that there's been new research that has come out that, like, okay, yes, Mozart music is great, but there's other things to consider too with
Mhm.
that research. And
Mhm.
so it's like it's good, but also there's like, let's see, there's new research and some fine print underneath.
So, okay. No,
Yeah.
but that's interesting. But I think, that's just the advance of science in general.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which goes back to
and
like music is science.
right, right. Just like you said at the beginning, it is. And so when you're studying something, you're studying it. Oftentimes, because to do research, you have to formulate your theory, right? And then you're looking kind of through that channel, through that theory, trying to prove or what's the other word? Unproof. That's not a word. To prove the theory, or to to show how it does not apply or something. And so I think that's what happens, with anything. And so it's good in whatever field that we're in, seeing how when there's more research, you get new information about it, and you see, and then you can adapt, as you go. And I think, there was this big push for it, just because, again, that's what was researched, and that's what, we had. And then, but what happened is that we pushed aside a lot of the other things, that are more cultural, or just not,
Mm-hmm.
that you play the Beatles or
Yeah.
anything,
Mm-hmm. And
that
that,
can.
that is another thing to think about. It's like
Mhm.
what like here at US, what we consider maybe helpful or calming for other people in other countries or cultures, something else could be considered calming. And to us it like that just drives me crazy if I listen to that all day. So there is that I think that cultural thing to aspect to consider.
Yeah, that's very true. The cultural aspect is because something that might get one person calm, right, or one person excited, so something that may calm you may bring anxiety to somebody else culturally, but also you talked about the individual, how the
Mm-hmm.
music can bring up a memory, you know, and so if this type of music brings up a certain memory, uh, for me, and then you're there like, oh, this is so relaxing, I feel so peaceful, and I'm anxious. you know so again, being aware of how the music is affecting us, and how it can promote, well-being and health. Even listening to music when we're eating, something calm,
Mm-hmm.
colorful but calm, can actually help with the digestion. So there's so much to it. um I don't see any comments, so I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. I just had my question. So again, so in knowing now that there's not one type of music, I would say, that is necessarily good or bad. Out there, time of the day type of music. I just point on eating, but like, say if I'm going to sleep, like if I have trouble sleeping, for example, is there a type of music that will help? If I am reading or studying, or children, for example, doing their homework, out there, because I grew up saying, you have to do your homework in silence, right? Uh,
I
you
can't.
know,
I have instrumental music that I usually listen to.
Right.
It's
But I
just
could never, but I felt that it's just what you have to do. You have to be quiet and focused and
mm-hmm.
silence when you're doing your homework, or when you're reading the holy readings and things like that. You feel like you have to be so quiet. And so are there, tasks that can be where music can accompany, in the task, and that can be beneficial, and or sleeping, studying, or anything like
I
that.
mean, I think for anything academic, if it's put to music, you definitely learn it better.
Hmm.
There's things that I know from elementary school that I probably will never have a need for, but I remember them because they were put to music.
Song. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so I think that always be helpful. And I mean, it depends on the individual because I mean, I know people who can listen to all kinds of music as they
Hmm.
study.
Hmm.
I can't listen to piano music or classical music because my mind will just analyze it.
I
Um,
mean, oh, that's
but
okay. Okay.
um, I know people who have to listen who have to do things in silence
Hmm.
um, yeah, it depends on the person for that. Um, I'm not aware of like a specific time or anything. I mean, I feel like the sooner, like in term for sleep and everything, the sooner you start to wind down and just get um, your mind ready and just nothing loud and crazy and upbeat to as a way of excitement or anything, then you probably I would think that you would sleep better. Um, but otherwise, I'm not sure. I would have to look more into that myself. Um, yeah.
I'm sorry, we got a guest that came. You'll say hi to Miss Rebecca. Hi. So we have a guest, and so I think yeah, the different again, I think the key, that we're getting from that is listening and being aware, and listening to how the music is affecting us, and so in different time of the day, different task, where it can help or it can be detrimental, and then also in healing and in calming down our anxiety and all those things, where it can be useful for us. So, well, I think we are actually at the top of the hour, but every time you are putting down your guitar, I feel like you just keep it on because I like.
I can do usually at the end of every session,
Yeah, let's do
goodbye
that.
something.
Let's do
Let's see.
a nice closing. You want to hear some music? Yeah.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to make music together, but now it's time to say goodbye. So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Goodbye.
Yay. Do you like that? Yeah, yeah, that's really nice. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for coming
Yeah.
on and kind of and just teaching us and opening our minds, opening our, I'll say our eyes with our ears, and showing us how music, how important in an integral part of our life, that it can be, that it is really, we don't necessarily pay attention or aware of it or using it, right? And so how we can actually make it a tool, in our day to day. So thank you so much for that. Do you have any last word or anything that you would like to leave with our viewers for encouragement, or any tips that you have?
Music is wonderful. Music is very, like I said before, you don't have to be a musician to enjoy music.
Hmm.
Um, you can, it's so versatile. You can use it for anything. There's something out there for everyone. And I mean, if nothing else, it's never too late to learn how to play something or to make music yourself, whether
Hmm.
it's individually with a group, whatever the case is. It's there's the benefits are out there for music, and I mean, like I said, we live in a musical, rhythmic world.
Hmm.
Um, there's something out there that you can find for whatever your need is.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I like that. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for coming
Mhm.
on. Thank you for those who stayed on for this episode. If you are catching on the replay, let us know. Put a little hashtag replay for us. If you have questions, as you are watching later for Rebecca or for me, please also put that in the comment. And of course, if you have not done so yet, please go to YouTube and search 39 Down to subscribe and click on the notification, right? So that you can receive so that you can know when we have our next episode. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rebecca. And I guess I'll say, can you sign us out with a song?
Let's see.
You can just play goodbye again. It was cute.
Okay.
I really liked
I have
it.
another. Let's see. There's another one that I have. Um, an older one. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling on till then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Thank you. Happy trails to you guys. Live well and love. Until next time. Bye bye.